And welcome to Dungeon Mechanics, everybody. You are watching another lovely episode of Dawn of Diademia, and today we're going to find out if anybody dies. I mean, besides
he's gonna kill us.
Who already did in
He's
the
gonna kill us.
in the last time.
Help!
Send help. Send self-support. So in the last episode, y'all were fine. It was Dalen's turn to go talk to the court to try and gain favor for Freya, who was up for, I don't know, being killed or something. I don't know. Whatever. It was fine. And then Dalen had some mind things happen, and then he forgot what happened in his mind.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And then when he made it back, things got a little weird. So Dalen, Raylith, Obi, Vi, and a new freaking horror from the Crypt of Closets
You're also forgetting
Chipper.
Aleem.
Yeah, and Aleem. I mean, we'll get to that.
Okay. Don't disrespect my boy like that.
What are you talking about? Y'all forgot about him for like 6 episodes, and we're on episode 15.
I
so
wasn't
let y'all
here.
do the math of that. You wasn't here.
We're
You
on the
were here
path
the
of
whole time.
reconciliation, okay? We're amending old wounds.
Whoa. So, yeah, and Aleem went, forgot you created Chipper, the horror monkey from the dead. I don't know. He's a good boy. To find out what was up, because Obi had came back because Obi was supposed to be with Freya, but in senses of danger, Obi got the fuck out of there and went back to Daddy Ray. So, in the efforts, y'all headed down and found a crypt within the Feywilds of the court. And as y'all entered, you had to make choices of which directions you wanted to go. Raylith sent Chipper by himself down one path, and then everybody else went the other one.
I see nothing wrong with that.
Wow. This is how you treat your children. Anyways,
Okay.
we know who you love the most. Y'all headed down and came across a much dead or dying princess. And during this time, Caden and Vengax had a meeting to urgently speak with His Majesty. So they were off doing that. So as y'all were trying to find out what happened to the princess, Aleem decided to stay back because it would be a lot difficult to, convince the court that y'all weren't involved in the princess's current condition without somebody being there and be like, no, wait. Anyways, y'all kept going. Meanwhile, Caden was like, hey, king guy, person, your daughter's in trouble because I got a link with my Drake lady person, and you need to come with me right now if you want her to be okay. And he was like, yeah, that sounds dope. Let's go. So then they started heading off.
Dang, I don't know what happened to fucking Caden's voice, but sure.
I'm pretty sure I don't sound like that at all.
That's exactly how it translated in the King's Mind.
I thought that was Buck talking. I'm confused.
So as the others continue on, they made their way up a ladder and they found an arrow. Well, Raylith found an arrow pointed at his face as he came out, and he saw the prince and Freya together. But in a quick bat of confusion, the prince was able to let Raylith know that he was Freya's friend and he's trying to get her out there, and he left him with the one sole task of watching out for his sister. So then he was like, yeah, dope. And then they all went back down. And
then what happened? Then what happened? Go ahead.
They entered back where Aleem and Freya were. Fire, brimstone, ash. Right where the princess and Aleem were standing. And that's where we're picking up. So, in this brief millisecond, what would you have done as you see this?
God, okay.
Okay.
Probably
Where
would
is
have stopped me in my tracks.
Okay.
How close were we?
I would say
Like-
within arm's reach, but I would feel like that's not fair. Literally, as soon as you can make eye contact with Aleem, boy caught flame real quick.
Okay, I was gonna ask if I like shoot Obi out over there, can I have a Misty Step with Aleem back to us?
That's not how Misty Step works. Obi's only able to do touch spells, mister. You think I'm a new DM?
Yes.
What do you think this is?
Um.
Yes, you can send Obi out there with his 1 HP. He will catch flame and die.
Oh.
But he's a familiar.
Okay, I have a question.
I said a millisecond. This is like a thesis of
I'm
mind
asking you
thought.
something. It's above board. If I already cast Ryan's Binding Ice, since it's like actual ice, can I like coat them in it? From where I'm at, it's 30 feet.
You're trying to put
Them in
ice
ice.
on the wound?
You said I have a millisecond, right?
You went to a barbecue and you just saw the grill haphazardly catch on fire, and you're
Okay, then I'll just heal them if
it.
I can. Like, in some way, shape, or form. Because you said the fire's happening right now, right?
I'm gonna let you do a medicine check from afar with advantage, because I feel like your druidic spirit would know something in this moment.
Sudden combustion.
Yeah. I know. I'm just prolonging it, man.
Just let it happen.
It's an 18.
Yeah, you probably know that humanoids can sustain a certain amount of damage. And from the intensity of this heat, because you can feel it, you can feel the heat from where you stood at the bare base of entering back into this hallway. Bruh's probably like cooked
Charred.
with an extra point of crispy.
Jingo stacks. Fucking A.
So yes, the fire erupts, and after ash, the smell of flesh cooked to a far beyond reasonable degree, as two very charred husks are laying and standing where Aleem and the princess once were. And as the flames flicker away, at the far end, you see Caden come in with the king and his guard and Vengax. And the king's expression looks dire.
Yeah. So do we.
Y'all got the up close, they got the post. So, Caden, you just see
So
the
they didn't
charred
see.
husks.
Oh no.
So, as they rounded the corner, Vi never got off of Dalen's shoulder since he climbed up the ladder with her.
Oh, right.
Oh, no.
What exactly could she have seen in this room when they rounded the corner? Like, would she have noticed anything off in this room before the two burned all the way out?
Make a perception check, because she probably would have been trying her best to convey as much information back to you as possible.
I also have a question. You said that there is like a circle, right?
Kind of, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
with her expertise, she got a 24.
There were a quick, like flickering of runes, which probably would signal some type of arcane spell being cast. But there didn't seemingly seem to be any kind of like trigger. Um, that would have been from like Raylith or Dalen kind of returning back. But there was definitely some arcane element there.
Okay. So as the flames are dying down, she's kind of surveying the room the whole time, watching all of this, because there's nothing she could have done, period, to try to help this. So she's trying to gather as much information as possible.
Okay.
And as she looks across and sees Caden, she hops off of Dalen's shoulder and makes her way to Caden. And as she's making her way, she's informing Caden that he needs to stop the king before anything happens, that this is urgent. And so Caden will put his hand on the king's arm for a second and say, "Your Highness, there's more information as to what happened here before you tried to assassinate or execute my companions."
So while he's doing that, my immediate reaction is just like, no, no, and just like run towards the bodies and like try to like pick up a Liam and like just something, but knowing he can't do anything.
The moment you touch a leaf,
Yeah, I know.
just disintegrating into ash before your feet.
Okay. So when that happens, Raylith is gonna turn like the deepest blue you could think of. Like the area around them gets like cold, like winter, like a deep, deep winter when that happens. So like all their features get very icy and just, yeah.
So is there an altar in there? Or is it just a round chamber, flat floor?
There was kind of like a rectangled off square space that the princess was lying. Now there's like ash princess version there. But other than that, descriptors. There's no like symbols or anything in there. Just the ominous fire lit or green fire lit braziers off in the room to give it light.
And that was the princess, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sister of
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
of the
Uh-huh.
lavender.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 Yep.
So in those moments when everything's happening kind of all at once, the king stops, and Caden, you're used to picking up body language, I would say, but his breathing kind of gets very still and slowed, almost as if he's forcing himself to calm in that second.
"I'm sorry for your loss. However, they are not the ones to blame." As he reaches down and he picks up Vi and places her on his shoulder. "Someone else is behind this. There were runes triggered that caused this. It seems that they were waiting for us to appear. According to her, as they entered the room, it set off the alarm or the spell, and the princess and Aline were killed. Well, not really killed, incinerated. I believe that no one in my party to have the magics capable of doing so. In fact, I would be willing to stake my life on it.
Your words are heard this day.
If there's a way that I could show you the events that transpired from what they have seen, I would gladly do so, of what she has passed to me. However, your unseelie friend is not allowed to see these events, nor to be present in the room when I show them to you, for I do not trust him.
You speak of Droilar, I take it.
I do. I believe he may have a hand in this.
My guard should be retrieving him currently. He will have much to speak of.
Dalen will like throw down his mace, throw down his shield, and kind of like walk over to where Aleem. Well, I guess Ray's there too, right? And I'll kneel down and just like kind of scooping him together, I guess, in his ashes. And I'll pull out like a box from my gear and just start. I'm like kind of frantically like, Raylith, can you help me? Do you have any way that you can get him in here?
Raylith is unresponsive. Just shock.
And you do feel that drop in temperature, Dalen, as you get closer to Raylith.
Like a cold? He's cold?
Like a chill, just like in his maybe 5-foot radius of him.
Okay, first off, is he literally a pile of ashes?
He's getting there. I mean, the more y'all touch him, the more.
I'm trying to preserve what's left of Aleem.
Roll a roll a religious check, as you kind of go into that mind frame of.
It's a natural 20.
Nice. Of preserving and honoring the dead and making sure that at least as much of him as possible can be contained within the box that you pulled out. You start to do that. You do notice that Raylith is unresponsive, but that doesn't stop you from continuing your work.
I will turn my attention to him when I'm done. Oh, Raylith, are you okay?
No. No, I'm not.
You know this isn't on us. There's nothing we could have done.
And we had just. We could have just. If I hadn't suggested for him to stay,
He chose to stay himself. Elaine was capable and brave.
like you could see like if you're looking at Rayleigh, you see like the eyes getting watery, but like nothing's coming out because it's just frozen little chunks here. Like if they're tears, you know what I mean? But they're not forming because it's just like little ice bits. I and then the prince he tasked me with bringing his sister back, but how? How? This isn't the first time I lose someone to this, or not this, but people just keep dying on my watch.
Not just your watch, Rayleigh. That's not you. There are terrible parts of this world that we can't control. Bad things will happen. Trust me, I know. I also know what it's like to feel alone. And that's why I can't leave Elaine here. Nor can we leave the princess here. They both deserve to be with their family.
Like as much as Realith wants to scream, just kind of lash out, they'll just help with getting the remains of Aleem, and they'll help Dalen.
Can I get any insight on Rayleith's emotions?
You can roll an insight check. And then, Rayleigh can respond how they feel based on your roll, what you would get.
A 15.
Oh, they told you that this isn't the first time that he's lost someone, that they were supposed to, like somebody in their party or somebody in their circle. And you could see a lot of guilt because they blame themselves. Because again, this isn't the first time.
From where we're standing, and knowing that Caden tried to stop the king and the soldiers, are we able to hear their conversation? Because I know they're not screaming from where they're sitting.
It depends if it's.
I mean, if we're not, that's fine. I'm just trying to judge distance-wise.
If they're just speaking in normal tones, then yeah, you would, because how the narrowness of the hallway that y'all are in echoes, it would pick up. Otherwise, it would just kind of sound not mumbled, but like off distanced conversation. You're about maybe 35 feet away, so.
Okay.
The frustration you feel. Don't forget it and don't let go of it. And I'll kind of grab his their upper arm firmly and just say, there will be a time to use it. There will be vengeance. And I will attempt. Well, if we're still collecting, I'll attempt to like stand up with him at the same time.
Do you not have strong healers in this realm?
Healing isn't the issue. Since the events of the Isles, certain aspects of magic do not work.
So resurrection just no longer works in this plane.
Resurrection, teleportation, magic of the caliber that we would need in this situation. You watch as the king slowly starts to walk towards the slab that has his ashened daughter placed upon it. I will have you all meet me back in the throne room. Caden, with the assistance of the guards, should be able to guide you there.
I understand that you wish to have a moment with your daughter. I don't know if being alone is a good decision, Your Highness.
It's not.
He's already, whoever's behind this, whether it be Drawlight or others, have already attacked once.
Oh. I'm trying to kind of collect myself. Okay.
Do you know something else, Rayla, that we don't?
I'm pretty sure this circle was meant to kill all of us. We would find her body and the flames would just come out and we would die. Take us all out together. Whether it was just us or if the king were to discover or some guards. This is meant to take us out. And if he's already stricken, he might still be here, he might not. But I'm sure there's somewhere around here. Not entirely sure, but just a feeling. So if you want to grieve over your daughter, it's understandable. Just be careful and keep someone with you. Your Highness.
He takes a moment, but then nods, and without saying anything, you see how two of the guards, probably higher ranking from what you can tell, just by their armor, starts to move closer to him, but like standing off in the background of that area. And you watch the other guards kind of like shift on heel and start to make their way out. I appreciate your concern.
But we don't need any more loss. Especially since we just got to lean back just to lose him again. So,
Your Highness, how many guards are watching the Queen?
The Queen has other members of the court at her disposal, but there should be a fair few of the guards there within a beckon to call.
Very well.
And as he stands kind of like in the center looking down at his daughter, you, Raelith, and Dalen can see his body language like loosen a bit, but almost in that same instant he stiffens up, kind of like gripping the stone pillar, almost as if he's like doing everything in his power to not
lash out
or fall apart or show weakness.
He's trying to save face in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You do hear footsteps, slow but steady, as eventually a much dismayed Chipper comes around the corner and heads down back to Raelith.
How long would all this have taken, by the way?
All the guards attack it.
He just like walks under their feet. It would have been about, since you've summoned him, I would say 25 minutes
Okay.
to 30 minutes.
Okay. And then I'm gonna have Chipper just like fly up and like attach himself to my shoulder and next to Obi, and they get along. They're not like
They're angry siblings.
bruh.
Roll for initiative, Obi. One of the guards comes up to you, Gaiden, and kind of motions back to where y'all came. Sir, I can lead you back and your party.
One moment.
Of course.
Raelith, what's down the other corridor?
Well, and I'm gonna have Chipper kind of talk to Vi, or like if she could like communicate with Chipper, she'll see what he saw, all the zombies, and then them deteriorating and like going up in flames essentially.
Roll a
Yes.
animal handling check.
Me?
Yeah.
So +2, 17.
Okay. So as disturbing as it is, Vi's getting most of it, and she's able to convey it to you, Caden.
So Chipper's kind of like freaking out on his shoulder, making all these motions, and Vi's kind of like, and it's looking at him odd, and kind of nodding every so often, like, okay.
Like, and every once in a while, like in the middle of him like gesturing around, you see like a gut come out. He's like, "Oh, let me get the beacon."
And then when he stops, she turns and looks at Caden, and he goes, "All right then."
For being somebody that's lived forever, have you ever seen anything like that?
So the corridor in the other room is now empty.
now that all the ashened undead are gone. Yes.
And
Oh.
that happened during the
1 second.
earthquake. Very well. Proceed. I was just ensuring that there wasn't any surprises that would attack your majesty down that corridor before we left.
Yes, of course. And he turns and starts to head back.
So Caden, he witnessed the whole interaction with the prince via Vi, right?
Yeah, she can telepathically tell me
Okay.
everything she sees.
So I'm guessing we're
And-
just walking back now.
And Caden told everything except for the rendezvous
Okay.
to everybody. He left that a secret, so even Vengax doesn't know about y'all's rendezvous at the moment because he didn't want the king to know what y'all had planned.
So we're walking back now.
Yes, with the guards. So it's Dalen, Raylith, Caden, the companions, and then Vingax.
I would try and give us some distance between us and the guards so we could talk.
They don't seem to be like in a position of eavesdropping. It's more like they were ordered to make sure y'all get back to the throne room safely.
Okay.
So as long as y'all don't like outward stop, they're not gonna.
Walk and talk, baby.
Caden,
Yes.
do you think we should be sticking around here?
I think we need to find out what's up with this advisor before we leave. He
You
took
think-
something from you, and we need to know what he took.
Do you think he's still here?
It would be stupid of him to have stayed if he's the one that orchestrated the death of the princess. But that might not have been his only tactic.
The king made it sound like they had him.
Well, before I had left to come to you, I asked the king to send guards to get him, and he made the comment nonchalantly that he didn't feel he was needed to be in question. But I think the king has more of a worry now that what I ask of him is more warranted than he first thought of. But if
guess
he's here and they do have him, we need to get to the bottom of what he took from you before we leave.
Guess it won't hurt to stick around to have a little interview.
We know what he took from me. And what he took from me was of no consequence, for Vi can give me that information no problem.
I can't imagine what he might have taken from me.
Plus, I would also like to, if we're able, to show the king and queen what actually transpired on the behalf of what y'all saw. Give them a more eased mind that y'all were not at fault.
Maybe some opportunities for justice for Alim and the princess, too.
I've been around for a very long time. I've seen people come back from this type of death. But if that type of magic is blocked here, and we weren't allowed to get here but by means of someone as powerful as a god, then I don't know how we can save her and bring her back.
I'm sure there's some way. There has to be, right? It can't just be it's one and done. There has to be a way. There has to.
Would you say resurrection is a common thing?
Mm,
I personally feel like Dalen would not have been exposed to very many resurrections.
Well, I'm talking about true resurrection, not just resurrection.
Right.
Dalen would probably know that it's rare, in the concept of game mechanics. Yes, you probably could learn that spell, but in the concept of like, has Dalen experienced it or seen it sort of thing, it's extremely rare. And any rumors or happenings he's heard of a true resurrection has taken like quite a deal of time to set up, and the cases of actually success are even fewer in those. And that's by Diademia standards. You're not sure how it works in the Feywild.
Can I make a history check? Like
Sure.
being from the Feywild, and there's some similarities without being from this timeline, or
Yeah.
all right. Guidance? Can I give myself guidance in this or no? I'm asking you. Like, I'm actually asking you.
In this instance, because it's something you are consciously aware of, you can use guidance because you would be trying to think of it.
Okay. So, oh, I'm over here looking at the wrong thing. So, 4. So that's an 18 plus 6 on the die. So that's 24 plus 6. That's a 30.
So confused.
I know, trust me.
Chronicled my entire childhood.
So the Feywild isn't much different magically compared to other realms. The only other contribution the Feywild probably has that's a constant is chaos. So imagine magic happens fairly regularly, except there's always like a chaos factor of things not turning out the way it's supposed to exactly. Because of the primal nature of arcane magic in this area and how it doesn't necessarily abide by the caster's ruling, I would say true resurrection magic is just as rare, but anyone that's probably done it might have not been their intent to do it in the first place.
Okay. So from what I remember, it's a thing. It's super rare. But it wasn't always the intended thing to do. They just happened to come upon it. Whether it be, would you say wild magic?
Yeah, it would be more in a aspect of wild magic if you had to like pin it.
It would be more along the lines of like a wild, like arcane going. How do I put it? I suppose wacky. wild, chaotic.
So yet another reason that we need to look to the gods and thank them for screwing up the plains. And then he kind of looks at Vi. And just kind of keeps walking.
So
Has it still only been 1 day here? This is actually Dalen talking.
Yes. Yes, it has.
Probably been a month or more out there, according to what Ray got back from the crazy old man that he was referring to.
That was a while back, and that was 6 weeks.
My entire lifetime has been less stressful than this day. This whole
Mm-hmm.
place is wacky.
And this hampers even more what we came here to do.
It's like they said, it's an impossible task, and the only way to get back is through the Vanishing Isles. And even then, we need to travel through a tree, and I don't even know if I could do that myself. I believe I can, but just because I believe doesn't mean I can do it.
Well, that's still speculation, though. We don't know if we can actually get there through the Vanishing Isles.
We can bring retribution for this king and his daughter, then perhaps we'll have a marker on our side when the time comes for this impossible task of uniting the Seelie and Unseelie courts.
The only problem is that this may very well drive a bigger wedge initially.
But it's not. It shouldn't, because if it was Freya's brother, then they took him in. It's not the Unseelie. It's Freya's brother. He was planning this. If it is him, which it it is.
But look at it from their perspective.
I
They
understand their
took
perspective.
Freya in also, and she was gathering intel, and they found out she was Unseelie and banished her. They took him in,
Okay,
and if he's
well,
behind killing the king's daughter, then this is, at least as far as we know, strike 2. And
Well,
this is a bigger strike than just gathering information and sending it back.
Well, the prince has staked his life on saving her, so
exactly. So why would a prince of the Seelie court, be willing to stake their own life on an Unseelie? Why?
Because love makes you do crazy things.
Would I have sensed any semblance of affection for each other?
Not really. I mean, imagine your best friend is framed for murder, and you have princely ties to maybe get them out.
I don't think it's love.
You can love someone and not be in love with someone. If you have family, such as a mother or father, do you love them? Does it mean that you're in love with them?
well, whatever it turns out to be, it could be useful, but apparently also harmful. So we just have to wait and see.
The king knows something about this relationship that they have one way or the other. Because when I told him what Vi told me she smelt along with Freya, his words were, "What is that boy up to?" So he knew that his son is with her. So we may be able to find out just how far that relationship goes once we're able to converse with the king once more.
Well, um, we'll see what happens.
Well, how do you eat a land shark?
One more time, Dalen?
Sand shark, land shark, what are they called?
They're called land sharks.
How do you eat a land shark?
What does that have to do with anything?
One bite at a time. We have something. We have our first task ahead. Let's go talk to this advisor.
Galen came up with something that Raylith didn't know finally.
He's
To be
dumbfounded.
fair, land sharks are new creations, even for Raylan.
That's what I'm saying. All this stuff in the past that Raylith's been bringing up, Dalen's like, the fuck's he talking about? And then even Kaden knew that one. That's why I started laughing. I was like, yes.
It's,
Right.
I
Right.
understand.
It's a simple concept.
I understand. I understand. Okay, that's all right. Okay. Just dumbfounded.
The guards lead you back to the throne room. You're ushered through a series of gates that have guards at either side. There's a lot of unverbalized body language where you see the guards kind of like just making eye contact with the others, and either through the intent or through just how they're holding themselves, they're opening the gates well before y'all get to them. And you're ushered in, stopping before the main throne room, and one of the guards kind of goes up ahead, announcing you, and then you're allowed passage into the throne space again. You see the queen. She stood there next to a older woman that Dalen and Caden and Raylith would recognize as the other court member. And then there's guards positioned at the different entryway points within the room. Caden, thank you for returning. Oh, no. She would say James, because I think you're going by James here. James, thank you for returning.
Oh no, I gave my full name.
Oh, you did?
When I went
You and
into,
Dalen did? Okay.
When I went in there and said my piece.
Do you bring good news?
Caden would step forward into the middle and kneel down and look up at her and say, "My lady, I regret to bring you this. Unfortunately, we were not fast enough to prevent your daughter's death."
At the word of death, the room grows cold, and the seasonal ambience shifts to like a cold winter scape. And almost instantly, the queen kind of realizes what she's projecting, and it all sucks back in, but she does take a step back. Death, you say?
Yes, my lady. As I informed the king, I will gladly share what I know in a vision if it will aid you in some way to ensure you that none of us standing before you had any means of participating in this act.
She kind of nods. Yes, I think that would be very helpful, I believe the word is. Shall we do it now?
If it will please you, I'm prepared to do so, yes. And Caden stands up and looks around. Does he see Drylar in the room?
Droilar hasn't been or hasn't
Droilar.
returned yet. And the room does seem to be empty aside from the guards and then the two that you saw.
I only made one request to the king, my lady, and I make the same request of you. That Droilar be neither present nor privy to the information that I share with you. For I fear he is behind this in some way.
I see.
It's not. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's not me. He did. Your son, the prince.
I was going to show her everything. I just, from Vi's perspective, I just didn't want to incriminate anyone without them hearing the entirety of what happened.
Sorry.
I understand your feelings, Raylith, and why you are upset. And I know what the prince said to you in your meeting. I just wanted them to hear it unbiased and no feelings attached, so that they would understand where this comes from.
Okay.
The queen notably listens intently to the two of you speaking and looks over at the older woman. Azalith, you will serve as mediator. And the woman looks to you, Caden, and then back to the queen. Yes, your majesty. If I may see your hand, young man.
Caden produces whichever hand she needs.
She's a banshee.
Help me. Help an old lady. Sit down real quick. Dalen gets a visible shut.
Dalen's over here going, no, don't do it.
It's a trap. You take her hand, and her other hand extends out to the queen, and she takes it. And in a flurry, they vanish with small white petals that fall to the ground. Caden, the three of you are thrust into a mindscape. The season is autumn, and there are multicolored leaves falling in the distance. And the three of you are sat at a round table. There's ambience, animals, creatures in the Feywild equivalent. And the queen looks at you. Whatever you say here shall be between us. This is a mindscape, an embodiment which allows for a degree of privacy.
I understand.
Please, Caden, tell me what happened.
And so Caden closes his eyes for a minute. Did Vi get ripped into here with them, or did Vi just kind of...
If she was still on
fall
your
to the
shoulder,
ground?
then yeah, she would have
Yeah.
came.
Okay, so she's sitting on his shoulder, and he closes his eyes for a minute, and Vi hops off of his shoulder and kind of hops onto the table. If it would please you, she's the one that actually saw everything. She relayed it to me. So I will be relaying to you what she saw with the other two.
Yes, of course.
Do you want all events that transpired, or just what happened with your daughter?
As much as can cause clarity to the situation.
Very well. Raylith had a familiar watching Freya. The familiar returned to us when Freya was taken from where she was being held, when there was considerable danger viewed by this familiar that goes by Obi. They went after Freya. I sent Vi with them to be my link as I came to find you and the king. As they trailed Freya, they entered a room, and he paints the description of the room that they found the princess on the altar.
And you're watching as you start describing from Vi's perspective, almost as a mental projection from the point where Vi is on the center of the table. Her mindscape kind of envelopes the area, and a painted picture from her perspective starts to form as you're speaking.
So myself and Vigax, of course, came to you and the king. Aline was also with them. As they entered the room, they found the body on the altar. From the smell in the air, they assumed it was Freya till they approached, and they noticed it was the princess. Vi tried to heal her. Raylith tried to assess if she was alive. Seeing as she was not, Aline stayed. knowing that I had already relayed that myself and the king with the guards and Vengax in tow were coming to them, he didn't want there to be any confusion. Raelith, Dalen, and Vi went after Freya. As they made it through the sewers and they got to the exit, they were met by your son and Freya. That is when your son informed them that Droilar had murdered your daughter, and he was trying to get Freya freely away unharmed. At which point they returned to try to get your daughter out of there to us coming to meet them. And as they re-entered the room, and I'd imagine that's when the lights and fire and everything shows up now in Vi's vision. These rooms lit up, and that is where your daughter and Alim became ash. Myself and the king did not see what transpired, only what was left in the aftermath.
And as you say that, the season visibly shifts to a winterish state once the fire kind of manifests. And she pushes through into spring as she looks at you. I see. Thank you, Caden, for bringing this to my attention.
We left the king with your daughter. I did not advise this. If he attacked one of you, there's no reason he would not try to attack the rest.
I will definitely be on guard. Aslith here will also work to protect me. I fear the king is working to figure out a way to break this to his queen.
I am truly sorry for your loss. There is one other thing, my lady, that bothers me. Thanks to Vi here, I know what you took from me that I offered up at the hearing. But something was taken from Dalen. And we know not what it was. We know when it was taken.
We should be able to obtain the orb so long as the evidence still remains within it. Should Droilar have actually submitted said evidence. I will let Actually, I would like to play this in a way to which Droilar does not suspect that he has done anything ill towards the family. You said the only ones that know of the situation are your friends, yourself, and now the king and us present.
And the guards that were accompanying us, yes.
I see. If there is a way for us to see if he will show his own hand first, I would like to try that tactic first.
Very well.
And the moment that those white petals kind of like fell to the ground and Caden and the others vanished, Raylith, Dalen, the doors to the throne room open up, and you see the king enter with some type of urn, carefully holding it in his grasp as he walks past the two of you, sees the petals, and then keeps walking until he gets to a small table near the throne area and sets the urn down on it.
Your Majesty. Once again, I am sorry for your loss. I'm sure from what you could tell from the ice petals, they're talking. Caden and the Queen, and I didn't quite catch her name. But yeah, that's what they're doing.
Is the Queen aware of the princesses?
Yes.
I see.
Aiden has left no detail out.
Hated don't sugarcoat shit, chat.
Oh, God.
In that case, the last thing will be to bring Droilar here after the Queen and your friend, and I assume Azalith, return.
Yes, of course.
Would you like us to go get Droilar?
I think your presence here would be more beneficial. Should my guards have any issues with summoning him?
Of course.
And then the
My
room
lady.
shifts. Oh,
Before you summon him, I will need a moment to inform the others of the plan.
Good call.
For two of them, once they see him, may want to seek retribution immediately.
What? No.
I'm steady, man. I'm steady.
Mm-hmm.
I'm steady.
Yeah, I've done seen your steady turn you into an ice cold pillar. Yeah, I definitely need to have a conversation first.
God.
I believe I can give you a minute. Should that be enough time?
That'll be plenty.
Well, if there's nothing else that we need to discuss, we should hurry back.
Very well. And he'll pick Vi up and put her back on his shoulder. That way they can leave the same way they came in, so nothing's... Because he doesn't know how this works, so he doesn't want anything messed up.
The room shifts. Caden and the Queen and Azalith, the elder lady, appears back in the throne room, and the Queen snaps her finger and casts Time Stop, but it's a little bit different as she uses a bit of meta magic to extend the duration that it normally would have. You have a minute.
Thank you. So
And-
Caden turns around and looks at the 4.
Yeah, Raylith,
Or the
Dalen,
3.
Vingax, and your companions are not frozen, but everything else is just.
The Queen has made a proposition. She wants to bring Drylar in here and see if he will tip his hand, unknowing that all of us are aware of what he has done, before we set accusations, in the attempt to try to get whatever he took from Dalen back first.
Okay. Sounds like more of a chance for him to get away. I don't like it.
I won't let him.
If he attempts to run, we will find him and put him down. But let's play it their way to start with.
I
This
can't
is
imagine
their
he took
court,
anything
after all.
important, but very well.
And Caden will turn back and look at the Queen and nod.
And the room shifts, and almost without skipping a beat, it just appears that you all returned with nothing having changed. My husband, I believe we need to summon our advisor. And he looks at her, and there almost seems to be that similar words of communication without actually communicating, that he looks and kind of nods. Yes, go summon Droilar immediately. Bring him to the throne room. And you see some guards kind of like head off. It doesn't take too much time, but the doors open back up and you see Droilar walking with the guards that came to get him, and probably a few more that were watching his chambers. And he kind of enters, setting eyes on everyone in the room.
So before that happens, Raylith would try to get themselves back to like springish color, like, or not that deep of a blue, like just just it's okay, we're gonna get retribution, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. Just recentering, regathering, just trying to melt the ice to go back to like a normal-ish hue and not
I would say in that process, the older woman goes over to you, as she sees your color shifting back. She places a lithe hand on your shoulder. Yes, exactly like that. Breathe. Focus.
and just like thank you.
And still behind that wooded mask, she looks at you, unable to see beyond the blankness of the expression. Besides her emerald-hued eyes, she utters 3 words, kind of inquisitively in your direction, so that you can hear them as you're getting back to your normal color. Who are you?
Just caught off guard. Ray, Lith.
And as you say that, your normal bluish hue tint returns to you. She pats you kindly and ushers back off.
Did Dalen notice that?
Mm-hmm.
I need to remember that one.
Then the doors open and Jorla enters.
Act casually. Just act casual.
Does anybody do anything immediately once the doors open?
Oh, there's something that I want to do, but I'm not going to do it.
I mean, you could feel free to.
Smite!
Smite the unbeliever!
No, I don't do anything. Well, actually, I don't do anything. Nice.
So y'all just watching as Jorlar's coming into the throne room.
Kate is just looking straight forward like he did the whole time he was in the room when they were interviewing him.
How
So you're
subtly can
looking
I
at the
cast
throne room?
Hunter's Mark.
Are you saying Caden's trying to cast Hunter's?
No, me.
Oh, you are?
I said, how subtly can I cast Hunter's Mark?
Let me see. Does it have
Verbal
It's a
components.
verbal.
There's a verbal component. I mean, you can try and I would have you roll Arcana and then sleight of hand based on your Arcana.
Not worth it.
Not worth it?
You're a paladin, man. Don't try.
My Arcana's not bad, but
Sleight of hand.
What's your sleight of hand?
it's not bad either.
not
Plus
good.
1.
Yeah, it's not a negative.
Not bad.
I have negative ones, so it's not bad.
Okay.
It was just a thought. We'll keep going.
So, Droylar's entered in, the guards kind of like V off, and he stands kind of like behind all the rest of you. Anyone that would notice, he has like his hooded cowl up, which kind of guises most of his features, but he does have that like lit Droylar-esque frame that you're used to seeing. And the queen begins to speak. It would seem that the princess, the prince, and Freya have all gone missing. Has anyone present been aware of their location?
Bless you.
Thank you.
No, ma'am. Not at all.
Crickets?
Vingax shakes his head. I haven't.
Dalen?
None, my queen.
Been in awaiting this court to give us the information of the procedure of the hearing this whole time.
I see. And do you, Joylar? Perception checks.
Natural 20
18.
for 25.
Is Vi doing one too, or just me?
Both of y'all can do one.
Nice. All right, so I got a nat 20 for 26. Vi got a 19 that puts her up to a 27.
Okay. And Dalen got like a 18.
18.
So you all would hear this.
Oh god, the music.
It's changing. Mumbles. Kind of rough at the beginning, but mumbles nonetheless, not audible words. As slowly, carefully, Droilar pulls back his cowl, and you see sewn shut lips that are bleeding frantically. And as the black blood is dripping down his face, you realize Droilar can't say anything.
What do you mean? What?
So he or somebody has sewn his mouth shut.
What a good excuse, Troylar.
Your Highness, if I may, and I pull out my short sword and start walking towards him.
There's a instance of fear in his eyes as he looks over at Caden with a short sword length, not a dagger, like a short sword.
I don't have a dagger.
I
I don't
know.
have a dagger.
It's a very long sword.
It's very precise.
Dalen, do you have a dagger?
It's fine. I'm very precise with this.
I'm going to use my last divine sense.
I mean, if it will make everyone feel better,
Oh
I
shit.
can always use an arrow.
Hold on. He said he's using the divine sense. Hold on.
As you do, Dalen, you don't get anything.
And y'all know I don't have my bow off my back. I'm saying I can use the arrow to just go across
It's not.
instead of the sword.
We know that, but they don't know that.
But Dalen doesn't know because
I know!
the last time
I know, but Dalen doesn't know.
So yes, you pull your short sword and you go for Droilar.
Well, as I'm walking that way, I'm still waiting for permission because I haven't been told that it's okay with the court that I.
The queen, in a bit of shock at Droilar's current situation.
Oh god.
Yes, Caden, but be careful.
As she says that, he goes, "Very well." And you see him stow his sword and he pulls out an arrow. And as he gets up to him and he grabs him by the shoulder and goes, "Don't worry, I don't want you dead yet." I hunter mark him as I slit across his lips and cut the lines.
And as well and delicate
Wait.
as you go to do that,
You said black stuff was coming out of his mouth?
just blood, like, you know,
Okay.
Droilar's blood's black. Who would have thought? But as you do that, Caden, the moment the last tether of the sewn shut thread is cut, you watch as Joylar's face curves upward into a twisted, hideous smile, almost uncontrollably. And Joylar begins to laugh. And laugh. And laugh as it gets louder and louder. And Aslith goes, "That's hideous laughter. That's arcane magic."
Um, 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 um,
The
Guess we
queen
get to knock him out then.
extends one finger towards Droilar and casts Dispel Magic. And within a radius that pulls out from Droilar's position, all magic in that particular field dissipates, and like a sheer of smoke, the visage of Droilar vanishes, and in its position is Freya.
Freya?
Her mouth was still shut. From bleeding lips, she kind of like pulls a hand up to her mouth and looks over, eyes frantic, kind of like sizing up the number of people in the room, but frantic nonetheless.
I'm gonna start walking towards her. Freya, what happened? What? You were gonna go to the van. Where's the prince? How did you get here?
The prince? I haven't seen him since the court. Where's my brother? Raylith? Where's Droilar?
What? Oh, hold on. Hold on. I don't know where he's. Can Rayla start surmising what's going on? Like, just.
I mean, make a either wisdom or intelligence save to see if you can get past the frantic revelation of your mindscape right now. Let's see if you're thinking clearly.
That's a 19 plus 9.
Okay, so I'll give you a moment of clarity, as well as the others, to try and figure out maybe what is going on in this situation.
Okay. So.
From what you know, the last you saw Freya, she was with the prince, and then they dimension doored out.
But she hasn't seen him since the court.
You also know that when you returned back, the arcane energy kind of engulfed Anastasia and Aleem. I'm trying to think what else. But yeah, like the turn of events doesn't add up.
Okay, Freya.
The prince escaped with you. Why are you here?
I haven't seen Advin since the court.
Okay, Freya, then where were you?
I was brought back to my holding
Okay,
chamber.
then why did Obi come back to me? If you were in danger, Obi came back. Why? The princess is dead, in case you didn't know.
I remember going back to the chamber, and now I am here, standing before you.
Would the prince have any reason to protect you, to escape with you?
I mean, we had... If I ever returned to the court, I hoped that there would still be some semblance there.
Okay, so if you were... He...
The prince has walked Droilar out of here.
Yes, he has. He's disguised you as him, and he took your shape. And that's how this happened. Because if you just... That's the last time you saw him, well... Aleem's dead. The princess is dead. We
What?
saw you... Yeah, you heard me. So that means the the prince and Droilar escaped with your visage. With your face. So we had him and I let him go. Okay. We need to go to the Vanishing Isles. That's
Yeah.
where they said they were going.
Dalen is just gonna swing his flail at the closest
Pillar stone
object.
thing.
Yeah, next to him, screaming at the top of his lung while just doing a thunderous smite into whatever's over there.
That crackling energy reverberates outward, kind of stalling the room air for a moment.
We know where they're going. Let's go now. And he'll just turn around and start walking out.
Question, because this is important. Did the information about rendezvousing get conveyed to the queen?
It would have, because like she would have known. Vi would have seen it.
Conveyed. It was conveyed to them to Vi. Vi conveyed it to me. The only person in the party that doesn't know is Ben Gax, but Caden never told it to anybody else.
We didn't know that, so.
So, on second utterance of Vanishing Isles information being brought to them, the queen, you can kind of feel the queen staring at you, Caden, before it happens, but the queen shifts her attention towards you, Caden.
What?
What is this information about the Vanishing Isles?
Caden turns around and looks at her. You had your reasons to want to know what was happening with your daughter. I did not trust Droilar with being able to pull information about events. I did not want him to have information that could potentially put your son in jeopardy had he compromised the court. It would seem that not only did he compromise and kill your daughter, but now he has your son. That said, this information is now needed to be said to all present, so that we all must be able to make a plan to get your remaining child back alive. Once we had met with you and the king and informed you of what had happened and potentially dealt with Droilar, we were to meet with your son and Freya in the Isles to take custody of her and either figure this out or do what we came here to do and bring your son back to you in one piece. Clearly, this is now a rescue mission to save your son.
I need you to roll a persuasion check, but with advantage.
That's a 21 with advantage.
Okay. Um, the queen nods, and again, you've been around long enough to kind of sense body language, Caden. The queen's not a dumb woman. She's able to figure out, pathway of thought. She looks at the group of you. You all will be tasked with retrieving Advin and hopefully bringing him back safely. Should you encounter Droilar, you have the full authority of the Sealy Court to do what you believe is right in that moment. This is not an easy task. The Vanishing Isles are uncharted, and anyone that we have sent in there has not returned. So if you go there willingly, be mindful of this. However, I fear that they are already well ahead. I can try and get you as close as possible. We have a courier of sorts that can fly you out that way. Is there anything you may need from the court before you leave? Please address that now.
While Caden's standing there, Vi hits him with a thought. And he turns and looks at Raylith. What does she mean by the final piece?
I
It was said to you when you met up with Prince.
There were just like trying to like remember final piece, a final piece, a final piece, a final piece, a final piece. What was it? What was it? What was it? What was it? DM would no because it just said the final piece. Correct, Buck?
Buck knows what I'm talking about.
I'm
However,
forgetting.
I didn't fully get to hear the entire conversation of that because Dalen wasn't all the way up the ladder at the time.
Okay. I don't remember. I can't remember. And I wrote it down somewhere, but I don't know where my book's at.
Take a chat.
Perhaps due to current events and, you know, it's like having that thought on the
On the tip of your tongue.
tip of your
It's just like
tongue
it's right-
and you just can't reach it right now. But because there probably wasn't any mental connection on Rayliff's part to what she was referring to, it just probably came off as like a happenstance or like a passing conversation piece. But should that thought trigger, I would say Rayliff would be able to recall it.
My lady, is there any way to see if the evidence that was submitted for this proceedings is still here?
Yes, that should be easy enough.
I fear it probably won't be. But if something was taken from Dalen, I feel we may need it back before we leave.
She kind of nods. Azalith, please go retrieve the orb. And the elder woman heads out with some guards back to where you can assume the court would be.
Dalen, after
Trying to remember,
having a
sorry.
tantrum and trying to leave, will have calmed down. Is the queen still there?
Yes. Her and the king.
He-
The king's still near the throne area.
He would approach them and like bow. Apologies. Um, dial that back. I apologize for my outburst. May I approach Freya?
The king nods.
And I'll just go to Freya and just cast Cure Wounds on her and say, I'm sorry we didn't see this, but I'm glad you're okay. And that's it.
And you're curing aids in healing the wounds from the sewn shut mouth. Thank you, Dalen. I fear that my family interactions are not always the most pleasant. Whatever Droilar is up to, I can assure you, it is not good.
He had any say in what happened to you. It's pure evil. I hope most family reunions aren't like this.
There's usually not very many family reunions in discarded children of the Unseelie Court.
It was my attempt at a joke, but noted.
Oh. I see. Well, thank you, nonetheless. And something happens after you cure wounds on Freya, Dalen. Your vision shifts, and you are not in the throne room anymore. There's a battle of some sort taking place, and you look down and your hands are bloodied. But there's something else there as well. Your hands. Not just your hands, your skin is red. You look around and there are angels flying, fighting for their lives against a horde of demonic creatures. But you seem to be fighting with them, even as your large bat-like wings keep you afloat. And as you go to charge back into battle, you're standing in the throne room again, and your vision's back.
What?
I didn't say anything.
I apologize. It's been a long day.
Still the same day.
Still the same day. And I'll just walk back to the crew, mumbling to myself. Still the same day.
I would have seen this, I guess. Yep. What? Everything okay, Dalen?
I don't know. This place is weird.
Yes, I know. I know.
How are you doing? That's a dumb question. I'm sorry. What are you thinking?
Sure. I'm trying to think of the final piece. I'm trying. I'm trying. Everything just all over the place. They need a final piece. I don't know what it is. Everything that's happened just in quick succession. It just. It's. I am all over the place, Dalen. I'm all over the place. And as much as you say that I could ramble on and get to the end of whatever it is, I'm all over the place and I can't get my thoughts straight. And I want to help, but it's just one thing after another. It's just it doesn't stop. I I'll be fine. I just need to gather my thoughts. Thank you for asking.
As they're having that conversation, Kaden walks over and puts a hand on Rayla's shoulder. Could potentially anything in Drawlar's room be of consequence into helping you locate them? Or understand what he's doing?
I can investigate it. Yeah, I could do that. I could look for anything.
My lady, may we have permission to investigate Droylar's room and see if we may get to the bottom of what he is planning prior to leaving?
As representatives of the Sealy Court, yes.
Okay, then we should go. Look. Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you for everything you've done, and I'm sorry again for your loss. I am going to go and look and try to find what I could to see if I can find anything to help us. And I'm not even gonna wait. I'm just gonna like grab a guard and like tell him to take me.
Okay.
Vi, go with Raylith. I'll await for the orb.
And as Raylith is being guided to Droylar's chambers, Azalith returns shortly after. In her grasp is a shattered, damaged, possibly no longer usable orb. Your Highness, it would take some time, but I can try and repair it. But there are no certainties that the evidence will remain. And the Queen kind of understood, Azalith. Do what you can. The King rushes down the stairs, and to you, Dalen, and Caden, and probably Vingax. With me. And he just heads out of the throne room.
Caden's following and keeping in step with
Yep.
however fast he's got to go.
The king leads you to a large stairwell that kind of beacons upward and opens up and kind of show you a lot more of the Feywild area. And once you get there, you see hatches and kind of stables perched towards the topmost portion of the kingdom, I guess. And there you see very strange winged creatures that are nestled safely, and also there are carriages kind of docked in place. You shall take 2 of these Pegasuses to accompany you, and choose a carriage as well. I would like you to get there as swiftly as possible.
Writing style.
Thank you. As soon as Raylith has conducted his investigation, Vi can lead him here, and we will depart.
Raylith, the guard, leads you to Droylar's chambers. The room's not secured or anything like that, but you come in and you see things like haphazardly moved about as if state of panic. You also see drips of that familiar black blood here and there. What would you like to look for?
Anything that, first of all, I want to see like if he has any traps or not, anything like that, like set up. like, you know, just in case.
Okay, make a investigation check.
I'm good at passive investigation. What about that? I have a 19.
Well, if you're looking for traps, you can hope that your passive will protect you.
Well, it's a 9. Okay, so I rolled a 17 plus. You said investigation, right?
Yeah.
17, 26.
You do see something. You kind of like kneel down near a few droplets of blood, and there's kind of like scratched but intended scratches patterned on a few of the cobbled stones on the ground. And your knowledge of runes would ascertain that this room is not safe.
Okay.
And right now it's just you and the one guard and Vi. And you start to see rune after rune after rune light up. And by the fourth rune, I would imagine you can already figure out the pattern. What happened in the crypt chambers is
Okay.
due to happen very quickly here. And
Okay,
Vi
I'm
would
seeing
also.
them light up too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Vi is freaking the fuck out at you right now, even though you can't hear her talk.
So I would still see I see it. I would immediately tell the guard to like get out, and I'm gonna. I wanted.
Are you going to try and grab anything? Or...
You only need one arm.
Yeah, like so. With that, if we could like stack that at the investigation, can I like find anything like a book or something that looks very?
I'll give you a choice.
What's up?
There is a grimoire on a table.
Okay.
There is a vial off in the corner. And there is a stained, bloodied piece of parchment kind of at his nightstand. And you only have time to grab one.
What can Vi grab?
Does she have opposable thumbs?
I
In her
also
mouth.
have. I also have Obi and Chipper.
Yeah, but Vi's probably got more life than all three of you put together. So which one can Vi grab?
And you're pushing DM buttons too.
I know I am. I know I am.
I mean, you can send the others to try and do things, but you visibly have.
I'm gonna
one
grab
thing.
the grimoire, and then if Vi goes for the bloody parchment, I'm gonna go for the other thing.
You're going to try and go
With-
for two? Or. Which of your children do you not love? Let's hear it.
I'm gonna go for both, and then I'm gonna Misty step out.
Okay.
Yes, I know. I'm going for it. I'm doing it. Okay, I'm doing it.
Ah, what true love for a familiar looks like.
As you do that, you grab the grimoire. Easy. You quickly shift and go for the vial.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you see almost like in fluid movement, Vi jumps off to go grab the bloodied parchment, and she's like booking it out.
Yeah.
You go to Misty Step. Let me get a Arcana check.
Natural 20.
Nice. The
Burn that to not be able to make it.
last rune activates, and you realize because you didn't see the 10 runes like Vi did when you came in, and she wouldn't know like the definition of it. The last rune activates, and it's a magic dampener,
Yeah, I figured.
and that's where we're gonna end it. Yeah, as soon as Rayleigh gets back, we'll leave.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
You have a whole month to wait.
But Misty Step isn't a spell. It's just an innate thing that I have. It's an innate thing
It's
that I have.
innate magic, though, right?
We'll see what happens.
Motherfucker.
In like 3 weeks, chat. It's fine. I don't end on big cliffhangers for us to go with an innate racial trait.
3 weeks
the
is plenty of
truth.
time for wounds to start to heal, but still fresh and ready
I'll
to
make
be
a new character
reopened.
then. Okay.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's where we're gonna end it for today.
Fucking.
Hey, decisions, consequences. You gotta let people know. There would have been plenty of time for you to make it out if you just grabbed the book and headed out, because that last room would have been like boop, and then you'd be like bye, and then we'd be like poof. But now
Could have done the cool explosion walk off.
that's what Vi did. But we'll see what happens next. Will his racial trait be beneficial? Who knows? But yeah, thanks everybody for stopping by and joining in on the insanity. We will be back next month with more exciting episodes of Dawn of Diademia. And things are starting to get pretty amped up, if I do say so myself. But it's great.
And we might be pushing day 2 in the Feywilds.
Maybe.
Exciting.
It's like
Maybe.
16 episodes later. Is the day over yet? No, it's nighttime. Second nighttime.
I need to sleep.
Yes. I love it. I love it. We will be back. But stick around in the chat, because we will definitely be rating somebody. So thank you for watching. Okay, bye. See you later.
Later.